Hi everyone, welcome to the Fonzamon Community Reforestation Project YouTube channel. My name is Kemba Jaramogi and today I'm going to share with you what we do here.
So, Campbell, FACRP recently received 12 you said, gold ADDY awards. And we mentioned what ADDY was earlier. ADDY stands for, oh no, we don't have what ADDY stands for. Anyway, 12 ADDY awards. That's no small feat. What do these awards mean for your team, and how do they reflect your environmental communication efforts?
All right. So we were fortunate to partner with F1 Agency, which is an ad agency here in Trinidad and Tobago, and we came up with a strategy to develop some educational motifs that featuring wildlife to advocate for bush and forest fire prevention with the tagline, don't start where you can't stop. So as we mentioned in many different videos and so on, bush and forest fire management and suppression is a task all by itself. So we want to be able to prevent the occurrence of bush and forest fires. So we won 12 different awards. Some are gold and some are, I can't remember what they are, but it's basically the awards are for the work that was done in terms of advocating for change. So this is one of them, and we're very proud to have, and we would have some listed in the bio under this post to just showcase what it is we won them for. But we're very appreciative for collaboration and for being recognized for this, and really appreciating that type of vibrant energy that we can get from social media. And thank you to everyone who's been reposted it. We will be posting more at the end of the year when we start the 2026 fire season, which begin in December 1st. It's the start of the fire season. So yeah, we welcome collaboration and thanks Addy Awards for recognizing us at your prestigious Caribbean Award. Thank you. This Addy Award thing.
So, your social media content is both educational and visually rich. How do you approach storytelling on Instagram and Facebook to inspire action and environmental responsibility?
Mm. One of the things with our social media platform, we we aim to give people that idea or that feeling of what actually takes place on the ground. So we've always been a very open organization showcasing the work that we do, whether it's through the print media, through television, or through our social media coverages. So we typically like to give people that idea of like how much energy is created here, that love for the land, and also to bust the myth that young people aren't interested in the environment or they're only interested in video games. I think they have so much energy when they come here and that love for being outdoors. I think, no one could really replace the feeling of touching ground, touching soil, just being immersed in that and, just being immersed in nature. So I think we just want to showcase the things that really happen here. But more so, recently, I would say, like since 2018, we've been really showcasing more of the wildlife that we see. Because if we leave the camera still for a while and it just picks up the audio, you would hear so much bugs, birds, so much wildlife sounds you can hear from the forest. So, really being able to document that through our citizen science survey initiatives with our youth volunteers, it's just so great to share that on social media to really show the diversity that exists within our Trinidad and Tobago landscape. We don't have to go too far to National Geographic to see it. We can see it right here in Fonzamon.
And that's an awesome response because this dives into my next question.
Hmm.
Campaigns like mango season and name that plant are both fun and informative. How do you come up with these ideas and what role do they play in building environmental awareness?
I think for the non-Trinis or probably the non-Caribbean people, they don't really understand how important mango season is to the society of Trinidad and Tobago. So mango, we have so much sayings, mango in season, pot turn down. The most you might get back in the days was a cup of tea in the morning just to make sure you break gas and then you go out all day and you eat mango, jumping from one tree to the next and going to the river. Especially mango season is also during the July August vacation time. So back in the days, you'll be home right through during the vacation time, going to the river, eating mango, finding zabuka, getting pomerac. So just being so in tune with the seasons, right? So mango season is one of my favorite seasons. So that post was to just get that feeling and bring back that vibe and energy that we would have had growing up, being so connected to the plants around us. So I know there is a debate, whether pineapple belong on pizza, but in Trinidad here and Tobago, we have what's your favorite mango? So we have that fight about people saying Julie mango is the best mango or starch mango is the best mango. So you have these battles coming up ever so often. So we just wanted to gauge the population and find out, what their feelings are on the mango season. So we were looking forward to some of the comments. We got a lot of messages inbox. But keep that history and tradition alive of our local food and fruit culture. I mean, that's what we're really passionate about.
That is awesome. So let's get into why water reforestation and climate are important to what FACRP does. So, from reforestation to water management, your work touches on critical climate issues. What are some of the most urgent environmental challenges facing Trinidad and Tobago right now? And how is FACRP addressing them in an international market?
Just a serious bug. All right. So when we talk about climate change and the work that we do, very often the word or phrase climate change is just thrown around there, but people don't really know how to connect it to the work that is being done on the ground, especially with an organization such as ours who focuses on reforestation and primarily bush and forest fire prevention and suppression. So the way in which that impacts the work that we do, our work is quite seasonal. So when it's hot and it's dry and there's a lot of fires happening, we tend to focus more on our bush and forest fire programming. And when there's a lot of rain and the peak of the rainy season, we tend to focus more on reforestation and surface water management on site here and within the community. But what does that mean when we talk about climate change? So with climate change, what exacerbates the work, what makes the work more extreme here during the rainy season is when we have that unpredictable, extreme rainfall pattern. So we have such a heavy rainfall in such a short space of time, and the runoff, the surface water runoff is really extreme. So you have a huge amount of water leaving the land very fast. So what we do is put systems in place to slow down the runoff so the trees could benefit from it and water could actually go into the water table and later on resurface as water within our aquifers and in our rivers. Now, if we have all the water leaving our landscape so quickly, we can then be affected by hydrological drought and subsequent plants dying and so on. So we want to ensure that that is not a critical issue that we are being faced with. So these are the things that we teach and we encourage other communities to implement within their water management and so on. When it comes to bush and forest fires, dealing with that, climate change really has us in a pickle because you have hotter conditions, you have stronger winds. Sometimes it feels like you're having storm winds. The intensity of the wind feels like there is a storm or hurricane brewing, but no rain or anything like that, just very strong winds. Strong winds, it results in soil erosion as well. So if you're walking through the forest during the dry season, you realize there's a lot of leaf litter falling on the ground. It's covered with that because most of our trees are deciduous. And the leaves are there to cool the soil. The vegetation is there to cool the soil. Now, when you have wind erosion, you have all this leaf litter that was covering and protecting the soil being blown away. And you also have the soil itself continue peeling away with that strong wind. So it impacts in so many different ways. And now you have strong wind, dry vegetation. And if there is a fire, that fire would spread in no time. So that is why we focus so much on prevention, because we know when a fire starts, we ourselves don't have all the resources that we can out a massive fire on the ridge. We most likely would be able to suppress a smaller fire. So early detection is also crucial to the work that we do. So this is why doing fire patrol, sometimes people may think, why just have a big man sitting down there in the forest watching in the bush? All right. But it's important that we have surveillance, be it remote, be it in person, be it that we can call people at different points in the community to spot fires as early as possible. So suppression is possible and it's not running wild. Resetting all the work that is done and all the wildlife that is here. One of the things that people also don't realize is during the dry season, the hunting season is closed. Not because, as the saying goes in Trinidad, all you're wicked. Not because people are wicked and bad and don't want you to have wild meat. But this is the time of the year that animals are reproducing. That is why the season is closed. So then you have a vulnerable period where animals are reproducing in the forest. Animals are laying their eggs in the shrubs, in the mulch that is on the ground, and then it comes a fire. So then there's a ratio of mummies, babies, eggs, a whole generation of wildlife, two generations, because you would have an adult and you have juveniles or eggs being erased from the forest. So it's very, very, very important that we kind of take a little step back and look at what climate change, the impacts of climate change means to us in our Caribbean context, which is far different from what you have in those Nordic countries, where they face sea level rise and ice cap melting. Yes, we have storm surges and so on here and sea level rise, but we have much more impact that is happening here because of our seasonal, just because of the way our season runs. Yeah.
So that gets me into the next question. When we talk about you've partnered with schools, corporations, and artists, what makes a good collaboration for FACRP? And how do these partnerships help you to scale your impact?
I think partnership is a word that has been thrown around loosely. And I think real partnerships is where you can benefit as well FSTRP could benefit, and we both advance in terms of our conservation work or our ecological messaging or just general um, appreciation for the work that we do here, but how it could impact different spaces. So I would give an example of one of the partnerships that has been truly um, beneficial. That is picking up, or are we okay? So, I mean, I'll start off by saying we appreciate all our partners because we partner for different things and also we partner based on the resources that we have to partner, right? One of the partnerships we'd like to spotlight today is our partnership with the University of the West Indies Institute for Development Studies, St. Augustine campus. We've been partnering with IGDS for decades. However, in terms of strengthening our partnership, we started a journey, I would say, probably back in 2018, 2019, when we started to look at our programming around the intersectionality of gender, climate change, and how it intersects with the work that we do here in the field. In 2020, our bond grew stronger. I mean, it had COVID happening there. But what I want to say is this: all the knowledge products that we produce out of this partnership, the internships that we have with universities collaborating and coming from different regions, we can definitely see the benefits here at Fonzimon in terms of our partnerships, in terms of our programs strengthening what we do here, but as well as the benefits that the university received as well, in which strengthens their capabilities or their capacity to deliver gender and environmental programs, how that intersects. So with real life information in the classroom where their students can gain from the lessons learned here, from resources, and just best practices in general. So, you really see that true partnership in where both parties can clearly show how the partnership is impactful. Not all partnerships are just purely financial. There's a lot of targets that we meet, and that is one that has been really set the tone for partnerships that we want to have moving forward.
And that dives me into my last question for you. What's your vision for FACRP over the next 5 to 10 years? And how can the public get involved in helping you get there?
So the vision for FSCRP, I would say we definitely would like to see a Trinidad and Tobago where bush and forest fires are something of the past. One of the things that we're currently working on is a bush and forest fire policy document for Trinidad and Tobago. But outside of that, what we want to physically see here on the spot is that transformed space that could really accommodate a vibrant field school. We have, as I said, mentioned earlier in one of our videos before, that we have been working with schools since 1997, but really creating that space for people to come and learn and explore and really appreciate um, what it takes to do hillside regeneration, conservation work, watershed management, surface water management, runoff, like to really appreciate the work in the field, to have that field school really engaging with more and more students, having that education component there, but also to see our staff gainfully employed and being enriched, feeling motivated in different ways, and to really be committed to continue doing this work in a different way. Um, and also for us here to have that level of independence where our programs could then fully fund the operation of the organization, and for us not to be so heavily reliant on donor and grant funding. So I would say, like within between now and in the next 5 to 8 years, it would be to utilize grant and donor funding to boost our sustainability components so that we would be less dependent on these funding moving forward, because the grant sector, the donor sector is really shrinking, and what we have access to continues to shrink. So looking at that sort of stability moving forward is something we really want to get a handle on.